All right, we're in chapter 8, and this is section 8.5 on absolute value equations and inequalities. All right, so our objectives are solving absolute value equations and solving absolute value inequalities. All right, so here we've got the absolute value equations. And so an equation that contains an absolute value is called an absolute value equation, such as absolute value of x equals 2, absolute value of 2x minus 5 equals 7, absolute value of 6 minus 2x minus 5 equals 2. Now, let's consider those first equations. So let's start with x, absolute value of x equals 2. Now, this has two solutions. 2 and minus 2. That's because if we take the absolute value of 2, that's equal to 2. And if we take the absolute value of negative 2, that's also equal to 2. Now, how do we figure that out? Well, what we do is we say the absolute value of x is equal to k. Now, if k is greater than 0, then absolute value of x equals k is equivalent to either k or negative k. Now, if it's equal to 0, then absolute value of x is equal to k is equivalent to x equals 0. And if this is less than 0, so absolute value of x equals negative 5, for instance, then the absolute value of x equals k has no solutions. All right, so those are the three kind of possibilities here. So what if we say solve each equation? Well, if the absolute value of x is equal to 38, we know that x is either equal to 38 or a negative 38 based on our first one. And absolute value of x is equal to negative 4 gives us no solution because if it's less than 0, there's no solution. So going through all this, we've got that, and this has no solution. So those are two easy ones. Now, what about this one? What if we want to solve this symbolically? Okay, well, that's either going to be equal to a 5 or it's going to be equal to a negative 5 because we said that it's going to be either equal to k or negative k. And all we did was we took everything out of the absolute value and set it equal to either the positive or the negative. So that's what we do. And guess what? Now we can solve this and we can solve this for x. So if we do that, then we just kind of work our way down. So if we add 7 here, we get 12. We add 7, well, I guess we're just doing one side here. Divide by 2, we get 6. Add 7 here, we get 2. Divide by 2, we get 1. So there's two solutions, 6 and 1. Okay. Now the numeric solution, we plug them in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so we get 7, 5, 3, 1, 1, 3, 5. And so those are going to be kind of all the different numbers that we can plug in to get that. And so symbolically, it's probably going to be the key way to do it, but that's what we get. Okay. Now this 5, notice that's the 1 and that's the 6. So we had to do a lot of numbers to figure out that way. This way, we could just do it just symbolically and get it directly. Now, graphically, could we do it? Well, yeah. What we could do is we could, figure out and plug in values, kind of basically same as we have here. And we know that if we plug it in, that's where our 5 is. And here's our absolute value. And we know we're going to have moving it around. We have to get these values here. So we plug it in, get these, and we see that it's at 1 and 6. Okay. So all three different ways work. Symbolically probably is the best way. The other two take a little bit more work as far as you have to graph it or you have to come up with the whole table to figure it out. All right, let's stop there and we'll come back for some more.